All right, so today we're going to be tackling custom planner production.
Ooh, exciting.
I know a lot of our listeners are super interested in this.
Yes.
So many people have great ideas for planners,
Mm-hmm.
but taking that idea and actually making it into a product
Yes,
can be a little daunting,
absolutely.
especially when you start to think about the costs.
Yeah, definitely.
You don't want to break the bank
Right.
just to bring your planner dream to life.
Exactly.
And that's where you come in.
That's right.
You spent over 2 decades helping companies do just that.
I have indeed.
So what are some of the things
Right.
that people just don't even think about
Yeah, it's funny.
when it comes to cost? I mean,
People often overlook a lot of factors
yeah.
when they're first starting out.
Yeah. What are some of the big ones?
Well, I'd say the biggest ones are materials,
Uh-huh.
customization, the scale of production,
Okay.
and then, of course, shipping and logistics.
Okay. So those are kind of the 4 big buckets. Each of those has its own set of variables that
Oh.
can really add up.
And we're going to get into each of those.
We are?
But let's start with materials.
Okay. Sounds good.
Because for a lot of people, the paper
Yes.
is such a crucial part of the planner experience.
Absolutely. It's all about that feel, right?
Right, exactly.
That tactile experience.
What kind of paper are we talking about here?
So you've got a range of options when it comes to paper.
Okay.
Your standard paper for a planner
Okay.
is going to cost you somewhere between 30 cents and $1 per unit.
Okay.
Now, if you want to go for something a little more premium
Uh-huh.
or eco-friendly, be prepared to pay maybe double that.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, and we're seeing a huge demand for those sustainable options these days.
Really?
Oh, yeah. A recent study showed that almost 70% of consumers are willing to pay more for eco-friendly products.
Yeah, that's huge.
It is.
So it seems like if you choose eco-friendly paper,
Mm-hmm.
you could even charge a little bit more.
Potentially, yes. Because people are looking for that.
You're
They're
right.
willing to pay for it.
Absolutely.
Now, what about thinner paper?
Okay.
Is that an option to kind of save money?
Yeah, there's some really great thinner papers out there
Okay.
that are still super durable.
Okay.
So you can get that nice luxurious feel without the bulk,
Okay.
without breaking the bank.
I like it.
Yeah.
So it's all about compromise.
Exactly. Finding that balance
Yeah.
between quality and affordability.
Right. Now, what about the cover?
The cover is important too.
Big decision.
It is a big decision.
So what are we looking at in terms of cost for, say, a soft cover versus a hard cover?
So a soft cover is going to be your most budget-friendly option.
Okay.
You're looking at maybe 50 cents per unit for a basic soft cover.
Right.
But if you want that really high-end professional look,
Mm-hmm.
you're going to want to go with a hardcover.
Okay.
And they'll start around $2 per unit.
Okay. So quite a jump.
It is a bit of a jump, but, you
Yeah.
get what you pay for.
Yeah. Makes sense.
And then, of course, you've got specialty covers.
Yeah.
Things like vegan leather or recycled materials. Those can be even more expensive. But
yeah.
they definitely make a statement.
So choosing the right cover,
Mm-hmm.
it's not just about looks.
It's not just about aesthetics.
No, it really affects your brand
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's a reflection of your brand.
and how you're positioning the product.
Exactly. And how much
Yeah.
you can charge for it.
All right, let's move on to customization
Okay.
because this is where I think it gets really interesting.
It does get interesting.
Because everybody wants their planner to be unique,
Right.
but obviously the more customized it is,
Yeah.
the more expensive it's going to be.
Yeah. That's the dilemma, isn't it?
Yeah. So how do we balance those two things?
Well, it all comes down to making smart choices.
Okay.
Think about it like this.
Okay.
A simple design
Mm-hmm.
with clean lines
Yeah.
and minimal embellishments.
Okay.
That's like ordering a basic pizza.
Okay. I like where you're going with this.
It's affordable. It's straightforward.
Yeah.
But then you start adding all the toppings.
Uh-huh.
The custom illustrations, the
Yeah.
intricate layouts,
Yeah, all the fancy stuff.
all the fancy stuff. Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's when the price starts to go up.
So if you're on a really tight budget,
Mm,
maybe keeping it simple is the way to go?
it could be.
But then how do you make sure it doesn't look boring
That's a good question.
or generic?
It's all about smart design choices.
Okay.
You can still have a unique look, even with a simple design.
Mm-hmm.
Think about using a unique color palette
Okay.
or a bold font,
Uh-huh.
or maybe incorporating some subtle design elements
Yeah.
that reflect your brand.
So it's not about cramming everything in.
It's not about cramming. No,
Yeah.
it's about creating a visually appealing layout
Yeah.
that's also functional,
That makes sense.
and that aligns with your budget.
All right, so we've talked about the design.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about the actual printing process. I know color printing can get very expensive.
It can.
Are there ways to kind of manage that cost?
Yeah, absolutely. One of the easiest ways is to stick with black and white
Okay.
for the internal pages.
Right.
They can drastically reduce your costs
That makes sense.
without really sacrificing anything.
Yeah.
And you can even get creative with black and white.
Okay.
Use different shades of gray
Uh-huh.
or black
Yeah.
to add some visual interest.
So you can still make it look nice.
Exactly.
Without having to do all the color.
You got it.
Okay, now what about all the little extras?
The bells and whistles.
Right, like all those extra features.
Yes.
Habit trackers and goal-setting worksheets,
Mm-hmm.
stickers, all that fun stuff.
Yeah, all the fun stuff.
How does that affect the cost?
So those extra features definitely come with a price tag
Yeah.
because each one adds complexity to the design and the production process.
Right.
So it's important to prioritize.
Yeah.
Figure out which features are really going to resonate with your target audience.
Mm-hmm.
Which ones are really going to provide value.
Okay.
For example, if you're designing a planner for busy professionals,
Mm-hmm.
maybe a detailed habit tracker isn't as important
Right.
as a really well-structured weekly spread
Okay.
with lots of space for appointments and to-dos.
So again, it's about that balance
Exactly.
of what you need versus what you want.
It's all about balance.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about where these planners are actually made.
Right.
Does it really matter where they're produced?
It absolutely matters.
Okay.
One of the biggest decisions you'll face
Mm-hmm.
is whether to go with domestic production
Okay.
or overseas production.
Yeah, so what are the trade-offs there?
So manufacturing in your own country
Okay.
will typically be more expensive,
Okay.
but you'll often get faster turnaround times.
Okay.
You might have lower shipping costs,
Okay.
and you'll have more control over the process.
Okay.
If you go overseas to a country like China or Vietnam,
Okay.
you can save a lot of money,
Okay.
especially if you're ordering large quantities.
Okay.
But you're going to have longer lead times.
Uh-huh.
You might run into communication barriers,
Right.
and you have to deal with international shipping logistics.
This is kind of a trade-off
It is a trade-off.
between, cost and control and all that.
Absolutely.
All right. Are there other things that we should be thinking about
Definitely.
when choosing a manufacturer?
You want to make sure they have experience producing planners,
Okay.
that they're familiar with the materials,
Okay.
the binding techniques you're looking for.
So really vet them.
Vet them carefully.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to ask for references.
Okay.
Look at samples of their work.
Good advice.
Yeah,
Now, I know a lot of people get tripped up
I know they do.
by this concept of minimum order quantities.
The dreaded MOQs.
Yes, the MOQs.
Yeah.
Can you explain that to our listener?
So an MOQ is the minimum number of units
Okay.
that a manufacturer will require you to order
Okay.
to make it worth their while to do the production run.
Gotcha.
These can range from a few hundred units
Okay.
to several thousand units,
Yeah.
depending on the manufacturer and how complex your planner is.
Okay.
Now, the good news is
Okay.
that higher MOQs usually mean lower per unit costs.
Okay.
So if you're planning to sell a lot of planners,
Uh-huh.
that can be a big advantage.
That makes sense.
But if
Yeah.
you're just starting out
Right.
and you don't have a lot of capital,
Yeah.
those high MOQs can be a real barrier.
Yeah. So it's something to be really aware of
Absolutely.
when you're planning your budget.
Definitely.
All right. Now, what about ordering in bulk?
Okay.
Is it always a good idea to order as many planners as possible?
So ordering in bulk can save you money per unit,
Okay.
but you got to balance that against the upfront investment,
Okay.
the storage costs,
Mm-hmm.
and the risk of ending up with a lot of extra planners if they don't sell as well as you hoped.
So again, it's about that balance of risk and reward.
You got it.
Okay, let's talk about shipping.
Fun part.
Because we've got to get these beautiful planners from the factory to our customers.
That's right.
What are the key things?
All right, so shipping and logistics can be a real headache,
I believe it.
especially if you're sourcing from overseas.
Okay.
International shipping costs can eat into your profits
Yeah.
if you're not careful.
Yeah. So how do we avoid that?
So you got to be strategic.
Okay.
Think about things like freight charges, customs duties, even potential delays.
Right.
Things happen.
So how do we mitigate some of those costs?
Well, one option is to explore different shipping methods.
Okay.
You've got air freight,
Mm-hmm.
which is faster but more expensive.
Okay.
And then you've got sea freight,
Okay.
which is slower but cheaper.
Okay. So it's that classic trade-off again.
It is.
Right.
And there are other options too,
Okay.
like consolidated shipping.
What's that?
That's where you basically combine your shipment
Okay.
with other businesses
Okay.
to get a better rate.
So it's like carpooling for planners.
Exactly, like carpooling for planners.
I like that.
Yeah.
Are there other ways to save on shipping?
Don't be afraid to negotiate
Okay.
with your supplier or your shipping company.
Mm.
Sometimes you can get a better deal
Yeah.
just by asking.
Just by asking.
And shop around.
Okay.
Get quotes from multiple companies.
Yeah.
Make sure you understand what's included.
All right, so it's about being informed
Uniform.
and strategic.
Absolutely.
Now, you mentioned customs fees and duties.
I did.
Can you explain those a little bit more?
Sure.
Because I know that can be a surprise.
It can be a surprise.
For people who are new to international shipping.
So basically, when you're importing goods
Yeah.
from another country, you often have to pay customs duties, which are essentially taxes.
Gotcha.
Imposed by the importing country.
Okay.
These duties are calculated based on the value of the goods,
Okay.
the country of origin,
Okay.
and the type of product.
Right.
And then on top of that,
Okay.
you have customs fees, which are charges for processing and inspecting your shipment.
So you have to factor all of that in
You do.
to your budget.
It's all part of the cost.
All right. Well, this is a lot of information.
It is a lot.
Let's try to make this a little more concrete.
Okay.
Can we do a simplified cost breakdown?
Sure. Let's imagine a hypothetical planner
Okay.
with some standard features.
All right.
For paper, you're probably looking at
Okay.
roughly 30 cents to $1 per unit.
Okay.
Cover materials could be anywhere from 50 cents to $2 per unit.
All right.
Printing, let's say you're sticking with black and white for the inner pages, could be 50 cents to $1 per unit.
Okay.
Binding, often overlooked,
Yeah.
can add another 75 cents to $2 per unit. And then you've got design fees, which could range from a few $100s for a simple template to several $1,000s for a fully custom design. And then shipping, as we talked about, is highly variable.
Yeah.
But let's say it averages out to about $1 per unit
Okay.
for domestic shipping.
All right. And then don't forget those MOQs.
Right, the MOQs.
You might have to commit to an initial order anywhere from $2,000 to $10,000
Possibly. Yeah.
worth of planners.
It's a big investment.
Yeah. So the costs can really add up.
They can.
So what's the most important thing?
Well, I think the most important thing is to get detailed quotes
Okay.
from multiple suppliers
Okay.
and really understand what's included in each cost category.
Okay.
Don't be afraid to ask questions if anything is unclear.
All right. So be informed.
Be informed.
Be strategic.
Get outside.
Yeah.
All right, now I'm curious.
Yeah.
You've been doing this for over 20 years.
What are some of the biggest changes
Oh.
you've seen in the world of custom planner production?
It's changed so much.
I bet.
When I first started, the customization options were pretty limited.
Okay.
It was mostly about choosing from pre-designed templates,
Okay.
maybe adding your logo.
Okay.
But now,
Yeah.
with all the advancements in digital printing and online design tools, print-on-demand services,
Yeah.
the possibilities are pretty much endless.
Wow.
Yeah,
So technology has really changed the game.
it has.
Yeah.
It really has.
Yeah. What about the demand?
Okay.
Has the demand for custom planners changed?
Oh, absolutely.
How so?
The demand has skyrocketed.
Really?
Yeah, people are no longer satisfied with those generic one-size-fits-all planners. They want planners that reflect their own unique needs and goals and style.
So it's really about personalization.
It's all about personalization.
Yeah.
We're seeing a huge surge in niche planners.
Yeah.
Planners for entrepreneurs, artists, students, fitness enthusiasts, you name it.
Wow.
There's a planner for everything.
So the market has really evolved to kind of cater to this demand.
Absolutely.
Okay, I want to ask you kind of a big picture question.
Right.
Based on your experience,
Mm-hmm.
what's the one piece of advice you would give to someone who's just starting out?
If I could go back in time, I'd give my younger self some advice.
Yeah.
It would be to dream big,
Okay.
but be realistic about your budget and your timeline.
Okay, so it's about finding that balance.
It's about finding that balance.
Again, between ambition and practicality.
Exactly.
All right, so start small.
Start small.
Scale gradually.
Scale gradually.
All right, well, I think that's a great place to leave it for now.
Sounds good.
I know we've thrown a lot of information at you.
I have.
But don't worry, we're going to delve deeper into some of these topics
That's deeper.
in the next part of our deep dive.
That's right.
So stick around.
We'll be right back.
Okay, so we're back
Back again.
and ready to really refine our planner production strategy.
That's right. Let's get into the details.
So in the last part, we talk about materials,
We did paper cover materials.
but I want to dive a little deeper.
Okay, yeah, let's do it.
What are some of the new and exciting materials?
Ooh, there's always something new popping up.
I bet.
One that's really interesting is stone paper.
Stone paper.
Have you heard of it?
I have heard of it.
Yeah, it's incredible.
So what is it?
So it's made from calcium carbonate,
Okay.
which is a naturally abundant material.
Okay.
And it's incredibly smooth,
Mm-hmm.
durable, water resistant.
Wow.
It's like paper that feels like silk.
That sounds amazing.
It is pretty amazing.
But is it eco-friendly?
That's a great question.
You know, we talked about sustainability.
We did.
And that's a big concern for a lot of people.
And the good news is, yes, it is very eco-friendly.
Really?
Yeah, the production process uses way less water and energy
Okay.
than traditional paper production.
Wow.
And it's naturally bright white,
Okay.
so you don't need to use harsh bleaching chemicals.
So it's kind of a win-win.
It's a win-win.
You get this amazing material, and
Yeah.
it's good for the planet.
You got it.
So stone paper is something to consider.
Definitely something to keep in mind.
Okay, let's shift gears a little bit and
Okay.
talk about some of the common pitfalls
Oh, yes, the pitfalls.
that people encounter
Huh.
when they're customizing their planners.
It's easy to make mistakes.
What are some of the mistakes that you've seen people make?
Well, one of the most common ones
Oh.
is overcrowding the pages.
Really?
Yeah, people get so excited about all the features and they try to cram everything in.
Yeah.
But that can actually make the planner less functional
Oh.
and less visually appealing.
So it's kind of counterproductive.
It can be.
Yeah. So less is more.
Sometimes less is more, definitely.
White space is your friend?
White space is your friend. Absolutely.
Okay.
You know, a clean, uncluttered layout
Mm-hmm.
is not only more aesthetically pleasing,
Okay.
but it's also just easier to use.
Yeah, I can see that.
You know, when you're trying to plan your week,
Yeah.
you don't want to be bombarded with visual clutter.
Right. You want to be able to focus.
Exactly. You want a clear space
Yeah.
where you can focus on your tasks and appointments.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
What other design pitfalls?
Okay, so another common mistake
Okay.
is forgetting about the target audience.
Oh, yeah.
It's easy to get caught up in your own preferences
Right.
and design a planner that you would love to use.
But it's not about you.
It's not about you, it's about them.
Right.
You're creating this for a specific market.
So you have to really know your market.
You have to know your market inside and out.
Okay, so market research is crucial.
Market research is so important.
Right.
You need to understand their needs, their preferences, their pain points.
Yeah, what are they struggling with?
Exactly what are their challenges when it comes to planning.
Okay, so it's really about putting yourself in their shoes
Put yourself in their shoes.
and designing a planner that speaks to them.
That's the key.
Now, what about trends?
Trends are tricky.
Because they change all the time.
They do. They come and go.
So how do we design a planner?
You want to try to create a design
Okay.
that has some timeless appeal.
Okay.
You know, stick with classic fonts,
Mm-hmm.
color palettes, layouts
Uh-huh.
that are going to stand the test of time.
So it's not going to look dated.
Exactly. You don't
Well,
want it
that-
to look dated in a year or two.
Okay, so timeless elegance over fleeting trends.
That's the goal.
All right, let's go back to the production stage for a minute.
Okay.
We talked about domestic versus overseas production.
Right. The big decision.
But what are some other things to consider?
Okay, so beyond location and cost,
Mm-hmm.
you really want to delve into their experience and expertise.
Okay.
You know, have they produced planners before?
All right, so look at their track record.
Look at their track record.
Yeah.
Are they familiar with the materials,
Okay.
the binding techniques that you're looking for?
All right.
Don't hesitate to ask for references, samples of their work.
Mm.
You want to see firsthand
Yeah.
the quality of their craftsmanship.
Okay.
So it's really about finding a manufacturer
Yeah.
who understands the intricacies of planner production
Right.
and who has a proven track record.
They know what they're doing.
Exactly.
Now, what about communication?
Communication is so important,
I bet, especially if you're working overseas.
especially overseas.
Yeah, so what should we be looking for?
You want a manufacturer
Okay.
who is responsive,
Mm-hmm.
proactive,
Okay.
transparent
Takes pairing.
in their
So
communication.
you're not left in the dark.
You don't want to be left in the dark.
Oh, okay.
You know, you should feel comfortable asking questions,
Mm.
getting clear, timely updates
Yeah,
on how things are going.
that makes sense.
Yeah. You want a partner,
Okay.
not just a vendor.
A collaborative
A
relationship.
collaborative relationship.
Yeah.
That's what you're looking for.
All right. Now, speaking of ensuring a smooth process,
Ah, yes.
let's talk about contracts.
Contracts, the legal stuff.
Yes, the legal stuff.
It's important.
It is important.
A well-drafted contract
Yeah.
is crucial for protecting both you and the manufacturer.
All right. So what should we be looking for?
Make sure the contract clearly outlines all the details
Okay.
of your production run.
Okay.
You know, the materials, the specifications, the quantities,
Mm-hmm.
timelines, payment terms, quality control procedures.
It's all got to be in there.
It's all going to be in writing.
Okay.
And you also need to have a clear understanding
Okay.
of what happens if there are delays.
Yeah. What if things go wrong?
What if things go wrong?
Right.
Defects, other unforeseen issues.
So it's really about covering all your bases.
Cover your bases, dot your I's, cross your tits.
Yeah. Make sure everything's clear.
Make sure everything's clear.
All right. Let's talk about shipping again.
Back to ship.
We talked about costs.
We did.
But what about just optimizing the process?
Okay, well, one thing you can do
Okay.
is optimize your packaging.
The packaging.
Yes, the packaging.
How does that help?
So the size and weight of your packaging can have a big impact on shipping costs.
Okay, that makes sense.
So look for ways to minimize the dimensions and the weight of your packaging without compromising the protection of your planners.
Right. So they still got to arrive in good condition.
They got to be protected.
Okay.
But you don't want to use a huge box.
Right, if you don't need to.
If you don't need to.
Are there certain materials
Yeah, there are a lot of options.
or methods that work well for planners?
Sturdy cardboard boxes are always a good choice.
Okay.
But you can also look at padded mailers or even custom designed boxes.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah, you can really showcase your brand,
Yeah.
add a touch of luxury to the unboxing experience,
Okay.
which is always nice.
What about tracking and insurance?
Tracking and insurance are essential,
Yeah, especially for valuable shipments.
especially for valuable shipments, yes.
So why are those so important?
So tracking allows you to monitor the progress of your shipment.
Okay.
Gives you peace of mind knowing where your planners are at all times.
Yeah, I like that.
And insurance protects you in case of loss or damage
Okay.
during transit.
That's good to know.
Yeah, it's a small investment
Yeah.
that can save you a lot of headaches down the road.
All right, now I want to ask you a little bit about your journey in the industry.
On my journey.
You've seen it all.
I've seen a lot.
Yeah. So what are some of the biggest changes you've witnessed?
Okay, so one of the most significant changes has been the rise of digital printing.
Okay.
In the early days, it was all about offset printing,
Okay.
which was expensive and required huge minimum order quantities.
Okay.
But then digital printing came along and it became much more affordable and accessible to produce smaller runs.
Okay.
So that was a game changer.
Yeah, that really opened things up
It opened things up for a lot of people.
for smaller businesses.
Yeah, smaller businesses, individuals.
What about online marketplaces
Online marketplaces are huge,
like Etsy?
like Etsy, Amazon Handmade.
Yeah.
They've revolutionized the way custom planners are sold.
Oh, how so?
They provide a global platform
Okay.
for creators to showcase their products, connect with customers all over the world.
Wow. So it's really expanded the market.
It's expanded the market tremendously.
What about print on demand?
Print on demand is another game changer.
Okay.
It made it so much easier to produce and fulfill orders
Okay.
without having to hold inventory
Okay.
or invest in expensive printing equipment.
So it's really lowering the barrier to entry
It's lowering a barrier to entry
for a lot of people.
for a lot of people, yeah.
All right. So how do you stay ahead of the curve
Ooh, good question.
in such a dynamic industry?
So the key is to stay curious.
Okay.
Never stop learning.
Never stop learning.
Attend industry conferences.
Okay.
Read trade publications. Follow design blogs. Connect with other professionals.
So it's really about being a lifelong learner.
It's about being a lifelong learner.
Yeah.
The world of custom planner production,
Yeah,
it's constantly evolving.
it is.
There's always something new to discover.
I bet.
And don't be afraid to experiment.
Okay.
Try new things.
Try new things.
That's how you discover new trends, new materials, new techniques, new ways to delight your customers.
So stay curious, stay connected,
Stay curious, stay connected,
stay experimental.
stay experimental.
All right, I think that's a great place to pause for a moment.
Okay.
We've covered a lot of ground today,
We have.
but we're not done yet.
Not yet.
We've got one more segment to go
That's right.
where we're going to pull everything together,
We'll bring it all together.
give you some actionable takeaways
Some actionable takeaways
to help you bring your planner dreams to life.
to help you make it happen.
So stick with us. Welcome back to our deep dive all about custom planner production.
It's been a journey.
It really has. We've covered so much ground.
Great
We
stuff.
have, we talked about paper, cover materials, design, production, shipping,
All the things.
all the things. Yeah.
Everything you need to know.
I mean, it can be a little overwhelming,
You can.
but I think we've really broken it down
I hope so.
into manageable steps.
Yeah.
So as we wrap up this deep dive,
Mm-hmm.
I want to turn it over to you, our listener.
Okay.
What are your biggest takeaways?
Yeah, what resonated with you?
What are you still wondering about?
What questions do you have?
For me, one of the biggest things
Thank
is just
you.
the importance of balance.
Balance, yes.
Finding that sweet spot between quality and cost,
Like?
customization and functionality,
Yeah.
your vision and the needs of your target audience.
It's all about balance, isn't it?
It really is, yeah.
And it's about making smart choices.
Mm-hmm.
Choices that align with your goals.
Right.
Your budget, your brand.
It's not about extremes.
It's not about extreme.
It's about finding what works for you.
Exactly. And remembering that there's no magic formula.
Right.
There's no one-size-fits-all approach.
And I think it's important to remember that
Definitely.
this is a journey.
It is a journey.
It's a process.
Not a destination.
There are going to be challenges.
There will be challenges.
Setbacks, moments of doubt.
It's all part of the process.
But if you're prepared
Yeah.
and you're willing to learn and adapt,
Be flexible.
you can make it happen.
You can make it happen.
Okay, before we go, I want you to imagine
Okay.
you're holding your finished planner
Ooh, love this.
in your hands. Okay.
Yeah, beautiful.
It's perfect.
It's everything you hoped for.
Yes.
How do you feel?
Oh, I feel proud.
Proud, yeah.
I feel excited.
Excited.
I feel a sense of accomplishment.
Accomplishment.
Like I created something meaningful.
Yeah, and how do you hope your planner will impact others? I hope it empowers them.
Empowers them.
Yeah, I hope it helps them
No.
organize their thoughts, clarify their goals, take control of their lives.
So it's more than just a planner.
It's more than just a planner.
It's a tool.
It's a tool for self-discovery,
Yeah.
for growth.
Okay, so as we wrap up
Yeah.
this deep dive,
Mm-hmm.
I want to encourage you, our listener,
Yes,
to embrace your creativity.
let your creativity flow.
Trust your instincts.
Trust your gut.
And never give up on your planner dreams.
Never give up.
Because the world needs your unique vision.
The world needs your vision.
And your passion.
Absolutely.
So thank you for joining us
It's been a pleasure.
on this deep dive into the world of custom planner production.
We had fun.
And we can't wait to see
I can't wait.
what amazing planners you create.
Go out there and make it happen.
That's it for this episode of The Deep Dive.